Hello, my friend, and welcome back. Today, I would like to talk about a message that came to me, and I've been seeing it other places too. But when I was reflecting on what kind of video I should make today and what I should talk about or what we should talk about, I got the message to open your eyes. And I think that this is really, really important and not said enough for the time that we're currently going through. And I think that we all need this message of opening our eyes, because I think that a lot of times that when we begin our spiritual awakening journey, or we've been on the awakening journey for a while, you can start to feel like not exactly that you know all that there is, but you feel pretty awake. You feel like your eyes are kind of wide open. But it's kind of not like a smooth graph going up spiritual awakening. It's kind of more like this, like the ups and downs and the highs and the lows. And, there may be a part of you that is very awakened, but there might also be a part of you that is still asleep a little bit. And it might pertain to a certain aspect of your life, maybe a belief you have something around something. So awakening is not just like, oh, I'm awakened and my eyes are open and I see everything now. No, a lot of times we need to work and bring our awareness to where we need to be opening our eyes a little bit. Right now, I feel like we are in a very divisive time in history. People are very much choosing sides and wanting you to choose your side, know where you stand, take a stand. And yes, we did talk about taking a stand, and taking a stand is great and is part of what we are here to do. However, we need to be aware and our eyes need to be opened to exactly what is going on. And ask yourself, we talked about this the other day, like, am I being too dogmatic in where I'm taking a stand? Is it, is that a place that I need to open my eyes a little bit more on? We also need to open our eyes on the fact that things are just not cut and dry. It is not just a this or that, or one side or the other, because both of those sides, even if you feel like, because like sometimes you may be like, well, I don't agree with either side, but I have to take a side. No, you actually don't have to take a side, because those sides are the divisiveness. That is the divide, and it's asking you to go one way or the other. Choose which side you think is right. Choose the side that you're on. Stand for nothing, fall for everything. That is not exactly true, because the spiritual warfare that we are in, the darker energies that we are at war with, we talked about before, very sneaky. And newsflash, they exist on both sides, because duality, the right, the wrong, the this, the that, is this 3D human experience. And now this energy, these darker energies, are functioning from for lack of a better way, a different dimension. They are not exactly functioning in this 3D dualistic world. And they understand that, and they know how it works. And that is what makes this warfare a little more tricky and a little more subtle, because it's not just the enemy in plain sight that's trying to push one agenda, but there is also on the other side is the other agenda, and both have the same kind of purpose, that dividing, that divisive purpose. And so to the darker energies that may be putting this out into the world, they don't care about either side. They don't care about the opinion. They don't care about the topic. What they actually care about is they actually care about the result. Is it going to distract you from what you should be really focusing on? Is it going to divide you and make you feel separate from other people? If those answers are yes, then they're like, all right, we're for it. You know, they're not like, well, this is what we think about this opinion, so this is the agenda. They don't give a shit about the agenda. What they care about is us staying asleep and us being divided, separate. And that is the whole agenda. And that is why we need to continually choose and bring our awareness to keeping our eyes open in these times. Because once you start to open your eyes, you may see where you could have been maybe duped a little bit, where you maybe took the bait a little bit, and you know, now you feel you could see where you were maybe choosing divisiveness over oneness. Because remember, that is what we are being distracted from. You know, because you hear a lot like, oh, you know, we're being distracted by this plague that's going around the world. There's so many other things happening. There's so many things on the agenda. And then you were like, oh, well, what's really happening? Oh, do I need to know? Are they doing this? Or, you know, my freedom's slowly being stripped away. And then, you know, then you go searching on the outside. You're looking for everything. Ooh, what am I being distracted? Then you become distracted by looking for what you're being distracted from. And the reality is what you are being distracted from is your oneness, is your wholeness, is your spirituality, in the sense of us all being one. And therefore, if everything is one inside of you, going within is where those answers are. And that is where the distraction is. That is what the distraction is. It is I'm trying to find the words. It is distracting from, by like looking on the outside of, even, you know, like, so the people that don't even know that they're being distracted are being distracted by something, and then someone who knows that they're being distracted by something is then searching on the outside for what they are being distracted from. And when they say that, like, oh, this is a distraction, it kind of makes you think that, like, oh, well, am I being distracted from something that is totally way terrible that is going on? You know, am I being distracted by, like, from the evil that is coming back into play? Or, you know, my freedom's being stripped without me knowing it? No. You are being distracted from the oneness. And that distraction places the separation from you and everyone else. And it places separation between you and your spirit. And what you are being distracted from is going within and finding that connection and that oneness that exists deep in your heart. That light that is wanting and needing to be being brought forth into this world. That is what you are being distracted from. Could there be, I don't know, like weird things being put into place while we're all distracted by what's being talked about on the mass media? For sure. But even then, those things are still a distraction from you going within. It is still a distraction from you understanding that your internal world creates the external world. And okay, maybe on a grand scheme of things, there is a collective energy, like a collective creation. You know, the collective kind of creates the reality, and that's why I think that we're seeing a lot of things in the collective being brought up and being really thrown into our faces and at the forefront of, you know, what is in our face right now, you know. But the way that we also even change the collective is by going within and changing ourselves. Start with the man in the mirror. Never forget that. You know, and I always try to bring myself back to that whenever I either see something in the world or I see something in another person. Say it's someone close to me that I don't exactly like. I stop and reflect and say, okay, where is this showing up for me and how I feel and what I'm doing and my actions? And where can I kind of course correct a little bit so I stop seeing that in the world? I stopped seeing it in my immediate reality. And that is the lesson that the divine wants us to know. That we need to open our eyes to what's really going on. What are we really being distracted from? Where does our attention really need to be right now? It needs to be in our internal world, you know? And it doesn't mean that we don't take inspired action in our external world, but, you know, the external world a lot of times is going through collective healing, and there needs to be attention brought to that, because the masses are still asleep. The masses are not understanding that they need to go within. Most people don't even understand that they function from a thinking mind that is separate from who they truly are, what they truly want, and how they would truly want to act. Most of them are just functioning out of their minds still. So that is why certain things in the collective need to happen, and it needs to be that squeeze. And you need to be aware of this, but also don't let it distract you. Open your eyes. You know, when you are seeing things that seem a little divisive, seemingly on one side or the other, or people being pit against each other, that is a distraction from your oneness. That is the ultimate distraction, because we are here to learn that we are not separate. We are everything, and everything is us. So, therefore, how could there be sides? That separation is pure distraction. It's made up. It's pure illusion. And when we start to realize that, it's not just starting to realize that, it's continuing to realize that. It's continuing to bring yourself back to that oneness, and not to be distracted by what is going on in the outside world, and not to be fooled. Don't let, you know, it's funny that the saying is having the wool pulled over your eyes. And, you know, I'm sure you've heard the term sheeple, that we're sheep. And it just so happens that that is a saying for us being blinded and not seeing what's actually going on, is to have the wool. What the frig do sheeps make? Wool. Their fur is wool. I don't really know how wool works, but I know it comes from sheep. And so to have that wool pulled over your eyes, but and being a sheeple, understand that, you know, the spiritual journey is up and down, and that you could go back to sleep at any moment. You could have aspects of, you know, your opinions and your thinkings and your beliefs that are still in the sheeple mindset. The wool is still being pulled over your eyes. But luckily, we can always pull that wool off by awakening and coming back to our truth, and coming back to the divine, and coming back to the oneness, and coming back to the creation that is this world. It is a creation. It is an illusion. And that is how we need to play this game. It is a game, and it is an illusion. So we need to having that in the forefront of our minds, continuing to ask, continuing to question yourself. Are my eyes open? Am I truly seeing what's going on here? Or am I just seeing what's happening at the surface level? We need to ask ourselves this over and over again and remind ourselves more and more of this. Okay, so that is our message for today. Let's keep our eyes open during these times. Let's remind ourselves of the truth during these times. Let's not get too wrapped up in the 3D during these times, because getting wrapped up in the tornado that is the 3D right now is the warfare that we are here to battle. And we battle it by not getting wrapped up in it, by keeping our vibrations high, by keeping our eyes open. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Anne, and I hope to see you next time.